What's going on, YouTube family? Today we're going to be talking about the new way to purchase cars. Now, it's not through leasing, it's not through an auto loan, it's not paying cash, it's actually through subscription. Now, I made a video about this maybe about 2 years ago, talking about how there were some people that were getting together, borrowing millions of dollars, purchasing cars and running a subscription-based model. Now, the reason why they did this is because millennials and Gen Zers have record amount of student loan debt as well as credit card debt, and they can't afford a new or used vehicle. Plus, younger people tend to move to more metro areas where there's better public transit. So their goal was to give somebody a low-cost subscription model that will help them get into a vehicle, so this way they can put out more cars on the road and make some money off of these people. But unfortunately, all those programs failed miserably. The people basically took the cars, never gave them back. They beat the hell out of them. They would drop them off dirty, no gas. The people who would come to rent them afterwards were basically just destroyed. So they decided to get away from this program. Even Uber and Lyft decided to jump in and give people a car. And then if they wanted to make some extra money to pay for the car, all they got to do is do Uber or Lyft on the side. But once again, everything failed. Now, why are they bringing this back today? Well, after losing millions of dollars, they decided this is cheaper to do this and to build out this program than to give regular people auto loans. That's right. The auto loan crisis brings us right back to where we're at, basically letting us know that they cannot trust people with massive car payments. So their whole goal is to get millions of dollars from hedge funds and other investors to buy more cars to rent out to the average American. Now, in this video, I'm going to tell you some of the good and some of the bad that go along with it. So I'm sure some of you guys watching this are probably like, wow, that's a great idea. I would love to just rent a car, pay a monthly fee, and when I'm sick and tired of the car, I can just give it back, cancel my subscription. I don't have to worry about depreciation. I don't have to worry about maintenance. I can just give the car back or maybe get a different one and start all over again. Now, in hindsight, this does seem like a good idea, and that's why it tends to work. But just like any tech company or new company that's starting in a marketplace, their whole goal is to eat up market share. So what they're going to do is they're going to ask for billions, not millions, billions of dollars and say, hey, look, we're going to lose money for about 5 to 6 years. And once we get everybody drinking the Kool-Aid, we're slowly going to turn up the pricing little by little. Now, this business model isn't anything new. Now, anybody that can offer some sort of subscription to make your life or convenience to you much easier, most Americans will buy it. And I figure that a lot of people are going to jump on the bandwagon of buying these cars on subscription. Now, there are going to be a lot of good things and downfalls. So let's talk about some of the downfalls and how this is going to lead to basically pushing this model even forward. Now, one of the best things about owning your own car is the freedom to do whatever you want. You're not calling a cab waiting for Uber. If you want to go across town, you can. If you want to drive all the way from Miami to Alaska, you have the right to do so. Just hop in your car, put some gas in it, and just drive. Now, a lot of people are going to lose this, but if you live in a metro area and traffic is really crappy and you're paying $600 a month for a parking spot, then I can kind of understand why this may not be the thing for you and you probably want to go subscription model. Also, I grew up with a love of cars. I love customizing, building them. A car is an extension of yourself. And so when people are getting away from this, they're going to lose even more car fans if they go to subscription model. Some of the other bad is most of these people are going to get so used to buying new cars that they're never going to understand the struggle of buying a used car. So once they get addicted to getting a brand new car on a monthly subscription, they're going to do whatever they can to go to that higher subscription. If you guys are old enough, remember when cable was cheap, like 19 bucks, and by the end it was like $130 if you wanted all the channels and all the premium stuff? It's going to be the exact same thing for cars. They're going to start you off with nice new cars for the first 4 or 5 years, and once they get enough people, now all the people that are in the lower tier are going to get the second used cars, and everybody else in the top tier is going to get newer stuff. Then you're right back into that rat race of paying more money for a vehicle that you really didn't intend to. Just like everybody that goes out and buys a new iPhone that's just identical to the one they just have in their pocket. But one of the biggest reasons why I'm opposed to this, and one of the things I see as bad, is because you're going to give a new company, a third-party company, somebody power over auto sales. Somebody's going to come in and buy millions of cars every single month, like rental car companies and everything else. When they buy at a massive purchase, they can sway the purchase powers of vehicles. They have a large dictation on what auto manufacturers do, sell, buy, and so now you're giving more power to one party that will basically oversee the whole thing. And I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, well, why is this such a big deal? Remember the car shortage? Remember how people were losing their minds, and every time new cars came in, they couldn't get them. They were wondering where they went. A lot of them had contracts with rental car companies, with other fleet management companies. They were getting those vehicles before at a lower cost, and then all they were doing is turning around and flipping them on the secondary market and making even more money. It could be the exact same thing, but a much larger scale, because if they have an allocation of, let's say, 100,000 Ford F-150s every year, their goal is to fulfill that biggest customer, that client, not you, the regular person, but the company that's buying 100,000 Ford F-150s. And if they decide that they want to have all the blue Ford F-150s and they want nobody else to have them, so the resale sells high on them, guess what? Ford is more likely going to probably make nothing but blue Ford F-150s for this company. And if you want a blue one, you're going to have to pay a surcharge or not even be able to get it at all. These are some of the things when you start filtering down into the actual economics of these guys taking over such a large piece of the auto buying sector. Now, here's the thing that scares me a lot. And I'm going to show you some screenshots and showing you how quickly this can actually become a reality. So I have to break out my computer for this one. So what is the cost of an average new car? So let's go ahead and take a look here. So the average new car costs somewhere around $48,641. Now that's a little bit decreased from last year at $49,292. From December 22 of the peak high. But what is if you want a truck? I know Americans love trucks. We got to have trucks for some reason, even though we don't take them off-roading or do anything with them. The average new truck costs somewhere around $60,000. So if somebody wants a 4x4 pickup, they can just crawl out on the mall, never touch dirt, never do work in it. But hey, we got to have our truck. So 60 grand for a truck. So what does the average American pay for a monthly car payment? Google says it's somewhere around $742 a month. And if you're buying a used car, it's somewhere around $525 a month. Now, if you're financing a car, you got to have full coverage insurance. So how much is the average full coverage insurance cost? Now, when I asked Google, I almost laughed at this one because I know this is not true. It says that the average monthly full coverage cost in the United States is somewhere around $223 a month, which I know is absolute BS because I'm paying $222 a month for liability for my smart car. So if anybody's paying less than $200 a month for a luxury vehicle for full coverage, let me know. Now I'm showing you all these screenshots because I'm trying to paint a picture for you guys. Now these next two ones are basically the average American pays about $1,600 a month in rent. If you have a mortgage, you're paying somewhere around $2,200 a month. Now this last slide is the one that's going to hit it all home and basically finish the picture. What does the average American make? Now when I put this in, it says that it's somewhere around $39,982. The average household makes somewhere around $78,000. Now, if we were to divide $39,990, whatever, $82 by 12, you're looking at somewhere around $3,333, let's just say. So if you have a mortgage, well, you can't afford any car. If you have maybe just you're paying rent, then you could afford a used car with full coverage insurance, but you can't afford the maintenance or anything else. Now, if you noticed in none of these screenshots, I showed you the average credit card payment, the average student loan payment, the average medical bills, average cost of kids, daycare, none of that stuff. I just showed you a very basic generic number. And the reason why I wanted to show you guys this is because this just shows how fast prices are increasing and where the American public is when it comes to affordability. That gap is getting larger. That's why I feel that the subscription model is something that could possibly happen in the next 10 years. Now, like I said, a lot of people are like, that's great, I can't wait to have it. But I'm sure you guys have heard that joke before, you're gonna own nothing and like it. We're not too far away from that, where pretty soon if we have people dictating that we have to pay a monthly subscription to get a car, it's just going to keep going up and up. Eventually, they're going to say, we're not making enough money. We're going to have to charge you more. And before you know it, a car is no longer a symbol of freedom. Now, to take you guys back, Henry Ford actually started the assembly line because he wanted to make cars affordable enough for everybody to own one. It was the new American dream, just like purchasing a home. But just like homes, cars are becoming unaffordable. They're the second high debt tier in the United States. It's homes, cars, student loans, then credit card. So on this pace, we cannot keep up with it. Cars are just absolutely getting ridiculous. Now, the last few days, I made jokes about there are no cars under 25 grand, and people have been sending me videos of Slate and everything else. Remember, a lot of these EV companies, it's BS because that's only if the actual tax credit from the EVs still around. So if let's say it's $25,000 for a year, but then they kill that tax EV mandate, guess what? Now it's another $30,000 car with nothing, with crank windows. sales. So it doesn't solve the ultimate problem of bringing back more affordable cars. Now, this is what I'm going to leave you with, and I want to get your guys' honest opinions in the comment section below. Would you rather own a car outright that's yours, so once you're done making the payments, it's 100% yours, or would you rather be a subscription buyer for life, never being able to customize your car, own your car, change your car, or do anything you want to your car? And sit there and really think about it. That's just like that guy, hey, if you can basically lose your beard or your facial hair for life, would you like to? I'm sure a lot of guys in the 80s said yes, but guys in the 70s, 90s, and like even to the mid 2000s and 10s want facial hair, so now that's not a good look, even though this is the trending thing to do. One thing I'm always fearful of is somebody else having control on too much of the market. Now, I always say there's 3 ways to control a population. You control the population by fear, by love, or by debt. And so if everybody's forced to pay a subscription-based model, everyone's going to want to go to that. And once everybody goes to that, like I said, there's nothing then from turning up the prices up higher and higher to basically make a monopoly, and everybody has to pay out. And then what's going to happen is every bank's going to jump on board because they're going to see the returns. Then it's just a runaway moneymaker. The banks are just going to keep throwing money at it. So anyways, I'd love to know your opinions in the section below. Let me know if you think that the subscription model is going to actually happen. And if so, would you honestly want to buy into it? Or are you against it, and why are you against it? Anyways, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next video.